Why God is keeping you home. The hidden work you can't see. You wake up, and the day already feels heavy. Everyone else seems to be moving, getting ahead, building something, going somewhere, and you're still here. Same walls, same routine, same quiet that sometimes feels more like silence than peace. You scroll, you compare, you wonder, am I wasting my life? It stings, doesn't it? That feeling that staying still might mean falling behind. I've felt that tension too, the quiet fear that maybe I'm stuck while everyone else is being used by God. But then something deeper starts to surface. Not loud, not dramatic. Just a whisper through Scripture reminding you that God doesn't measure your life the way the world does. He doesn't rush the process. He doesn't overlook the hidden places. In fact, some of His most important work happens where no one is watching, right where you are. The Bible speaks directly into this restless feeling. As Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still, and know that I am God." That command isn't passive. It's not telling you to give up. It's calling you to trust, to stay, to remain, to be present with God even when nothing seems to be happening. Because in His hands, stillness is never empty. It's preparation, it's protection, it's purpose unfolding quietly, deeply, and exactly on time. Number 1, God often calls you to be still before He moves you forward. That uncomfortable stillness you're feeling, it's not always a delay. Sometimes it's an invitation. An invitation to stop striving, to stop forcing doors open, and to let God do something deeper than outward progress. Because before God moves you forward, He often slows you down. Think about how difficult that is. Everything in you wants to act, to fix, to change your situation. But God's way is different. He doesn't rush transformation. He prepares it. He works beneath the surface, in places no one else can see. Your thoughts, your motives, your trust. The Bible shows this pattern again and again. God didn't immediately send people into their calling. He shaped them first. There were seasons of waiting, of quiet, of being hidden, not because they were forgotten, but because they were being formed. And that's where stillness becomes sacred. It strips away distractions. It reveals what you truly rely on. It teaches you to hear God without all the noise. Because if you're always moving, always chasing something, when do you actually listen? God speaks directly into this struggle. In Psalm 37:7 it says, "Be still before the Lord, and wait patiently for Him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways." That line hits hard, doesn't it? Do not fret. Don't compare. Don't panic when others seem ahead. Because God's timing for you is not late, it's intentional. Stillness is not the absence of movement. It's the presence of trust. It's choosing to believe that God is working even when you can't see it yet. And often it's in that quiet space where your heart begins to align with His will, where your desires start to change, where your strength is quietly rebuilt. So maybe this season isn't about going somewhere new. Maybe it's about becoming someone new, right where you are. And once your heart begins to settle into that stillness, something else starts to unfold, a deeper, more personal place where God meets you in a way the noise of the world never could. Number 2, the secret place is where God forms your identity. There's a kind of transformation that only happens when no one is watching. Not on a stage, not in front of people, but in the quiet, hidden moments, when it's just you and God. That's the secret place. It's not about a physical location. It's about a posture of the heart. A place where you stop performing, stop pretending, and come honestly before God. No audience, no pressure, just real, unfiltered connection. And this is where your identity is shaped, not by what others think of you, not by how productive you are, but by who you are before God. Jesus made this very clear. As Matthew 6:6 says, "But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you." Notice that, who sees what is done in secret. God is not only present in your hidden moments, He values them. He pays attention to what no one else sees. That changes everything. Because it means your time at home, your quiet prayers, your unseen obedience, none of it is wasted. In fact, it may be the most important part of your walk with God. In the secret place, God reshapes how you see yourself. You begin to understand that your worth isn't tied to your visibility. You don't need constant validation, constant movement, constant recognition. You are already seen, already known, already loved. And from that place, something powerful happens. Your identity becomes rooted, not in success, not in comparison, but in your relationship with God. You become steady, grounded, less shaken by what's happening around you. Because when your identity is formed in the secret place, you no longer need the spotlight to feel secure. And that kind of quiet strength, it prepares you for something even greater, the ability to remain faithful, even when no one notices, even when nothing feels significant at the surface. Number 3, obedience in small, hidden seasons matters more than public success. That quiet strength begins to shape how you live your everyday life. Not in big, dramatic moments, but in the small choices no one sees. The way you respond, the way you speak, the way you remain faithful when there's no recognition, no applause, no visible result. This is where many people struggle, because it feels insignificant. It feels like it doesn't matter. You do the right thing and nothing changes. You stay consistent and no one notices. You remain faithful and there's no reward in sight. But God sees it differently. In Luke 16:10, Jesus says, "Whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much, and whoever is dishonest in very little is also dishonest in much." That means the little is not separate from the much. It's the foundation of it. The way you handle your hidden season is shaping your future more than you realize. Every act of quiet obedience is building something inside you: character, discipline, trust. These are not visible, but they are essential. Because when the time comes for something greater, God is not looking at your potential. He's looking at your faithfulness. And faithfulness is proven in the unseen. It's choosing integrity when compromise would be easier. It's choosing patience when you're tired of waiting. It's choosing to honor God even when there's no immediate benefit. These moments may feel small, but in God's eyes they carry eternal weight. The world celebrates outcomes. God values obedience, and that shift changes how you see your current situation. Suddenly, your home is not a place of limitation. It becomes a training ground. Every ordinary moment becomes an opportunity to live faithfully before God. Because success in God's kingdom is not about how visible you are, it's about how obedient you are. And sometimes that obedience, quiet, consistent, unnoticed, is not just about growth. It's also about protection from things you cannot yet see. Number 4, staying home can be protection, not limitation. There are times when you feel held back, like something is stopping you from moving forward, from stepping into what you thought was next. It's frustrating, confusing. You start to question whether you're missing opportunities, or worse, missing God. But what if you're not being held back? What if you're being held in place for a reason? God doesn't only guide by opening doors, sometimes He guides by closing them, not as punishment but as protection. Because there are things you cannot see, timing that isn't right, situations that could harm you, paths that are not meant for you. And in those moments, staying becomes an act of trust. The Bible gives a powerful picture of this in Isaiah 26:20. "Go, my people, enter your rooms and shut the doors behind you. Hide yourselves for a little while until his wrath has passed by. This isn't about fear. It's about safety. It's about God telling his people to stay, not because they were forgotten, but because they were being protected. Sometimes the safest place you can be is the place you don't want to stay. You may not understand it in the moment. You may feel like you're missing out while others are moving ahead. But God sees the full picture. He knows what you're not ready for yet. He knows what could break you, distract you, or pull you away from his purpose. And so he keeps you where you are, not forever, but for now. And that changes how you see your situation. Instead of asking, "Why am I stuck?" you begin to ask, "What is God protecting me from?" Instead of forcing movement, you begin to rest in his guidance, even when it doesn't make sense yet. Because staying is not always a delay. Sometimes it's divine covering, and in that covering, something else is quietly being built. Not just safety, but strength that will carry you through what comes next. Number 5. God develops strength in waiting, not just in action. That protection creates space. Space where something deeper begins to grow. Not externally, but internally. Because while you're waiting, God is not idle. He is strengthening you in ways that activity never could. Waiting exposes your limits. It reveals your impatience, your fears, your need for control, and that's uncomfortable. You want movement because movement feels like progress. But God often chooses waiting because waiting produces endurance. There's a different kind of strength that comes from not rushing ahead. A quiet resilience, a deeper trust, the kind that doesn't panic when things are slow or uncertain. The Bible speaks directly to this in Isaiah 40:31. "But they who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." Notice that. Strength is renewed in waiting, not in striving. That means this season you're in is not weakening you. It's building you. Every day you choose to trust God instead of forcing your own way, something inside you becomes stronger, more stable, less shaken by circumstances. And over time, you begin to notice the difference. You're not reacting the same way. You're not as anxious. You're not as desperate to move. There's a calm confidence forming, a quiet assurance that God is in control, even when nothing seems to be happening. That kind of strength cannot be rushed. It has to be developed. Because when the time comes to move, when God opens the door, you won't just be ready externally. You'll be ready internally. You'll have the endurance to carry what He's giving you. You'll have the trust to follow Him fully. So the waiting is not empty. It's preparation for a strength you'll need later. And as that strength grows, you begin to see your current place differently, not as a pause, but as something far more intentional. Number 6, your current place is not an accident. It's an assignment. That shift in perspective changes everything. Because instead of seeing your situation as random or frustrating, you begin to realize you are here on purpose, not by chance, not by mistake, but by God's design. Even if it doesn't feel important, even if it feels ordinary, even if no one else sees value in it. God places people exactly where they need to be, at the exact time they need to be there. And that includes you. The Bible makes this clear in Acts 17:26. "And He made from one man every nation of mankind to live on all the face of the earth, having determined allotted periods and the boundaries of their dwelling place," your location, your season, your current circumstances. They are not outside of God's awareness. He has determined them, not to limit you, but to work through you. That means your home is not just a place you're stuck in. It's a place where God is doing something, both in you and through you. Maybe it's shaping your character. Maybe it's teaching you patience. Maybe it's giving you opportunities to love, to serve, to grow in ways that don't look impressive but are deeply meaningful. because not every assignment looks significant on the outside. Some assignments are quiet, hidden, personal, but they matter just as much. And when you begin to embrace that, you stop resisting where you are. You stop wishing your life away. Instead, you start paying attention. You start asking, what is God doing here? What is He teaching me? Who can I impact, even in this small space? Because purpose is not always found in movement. Sometimes it's found in presence, right where God has placed you. And when you start to live that way, you realize something powerful. The most meaningful work God does in your life is often the kind that no one else will ever see. Number 7. God's greatest work often happens where no one is watching. And that realization brings you to something deeper. A truth that changes how you see everything. God is not focused on what people see. He's focused on what is real. We live in a world that constantly pulls you toward visibility, toward recognition, toward being seen, validated, acknowledged. It tells you that if no one notices what you're doing, it doesn't matter. But God's kingdom doesn't work like that. Some of the most powerful spiritual growth happens in complete silence, in the choices no one applauds, in the prayers no one hears, in the moments when you choose God even when there's no external reward. That hidden life matters more than you think. Jesus makes this unmistakably clear. As Matthew 6:4 says, "Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you." God sees every act of obedience, every quiet moment of surrender, every decision to trust Him instead of yourself. Nothing is overlooked. And the reward He speaks of is not always immediate or visible. Sometimes it's internal, a deeper peace, a stronger faith, a clearer sense of His presence. Other times it unfolds later, in ways you could never have predicted. But it always matters. Because the hidden life is where authenticity is formed. It's where your faith becomes real. Not something performed, but something lived. It's where your relationship with God deepens beyond words, beyond appearances. And from that place, when God does choose to bring something into the light, it carries weight. It carries truth. It carries something genuine, not manufactured. So your quiet season, your time at home, your hidden obedience, it is not wasted, it is sacred. And when you begin to see it that way, staying no longer feels like losing. It starts to feel like trusting. Conclusion. When staying becomes trusting. Staying is not about doing nothing. It's about choosing to trust when everything in you wants to move. It's about believing that God is working even when your life feels still, quiet, or unnoticed. This season you're in, right where you are, is not empty. It's filled with purpose, even if you can't fully see it yet. God is shaping you, protecting you, strengthening you, and drawing you closer to Him in ways that only happen in the hidden places. You don't have to rush. You don't have to compare. You don't have to force something just to feel like you're moving forward. Sometimes the most powerful step of faith is staying and trusting that in the silence, in the waiting, in the ordinary, God is doing something extraordinary within you.